يا حسين 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 يا حسين حسين
صلوات على محمد وآل Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for joining us this evening as we continue our lecture series with Maulana Sayyid Muhammad Ali Rizvi. So today's topic, inshallah, he will be speaking on the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, including some of his lesser known companions. So inshallah, we look forward to a good lecture. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to invite Brother Yashab to recite as-salam in memory of Imam Hussain. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
سلام سے پہلے منقبت کے چند اشعار پیش کروں، ایک بار مل کے درود بھیجو محمد والے محمد. مولا عباس کی شان میں. حیدر کی طرح دین کے مددگار ہیں عباس. حیدر کی طرح دین کے مددگار ہیں عباس. خاموش یہ شبیر کی تلوار ہیں عباس. حیدر کی طرح دین کے مددگار ہیں عباس. اور منصب پہ امامت کے یہ فائز نہیں پھر بھی. منصب پہ امامت کے یہ فائز نہیں پھر بھی. شبیر کے ہوتے ہوئے سالار ہیں عباس. حیدر کی طرح دین کے مددگار ہیں عباس. اور شاگرد ہیں ان کے ہی علی اکبر و قاسم. کردار نہیں خالق کردار ہیں عباس. کردار نہیں خالق کردار ہیں عباس. اور لہرا کے بتاتا ہے یہ پرچم کا پھریرا. ہو جاؤ خبردار کے بیدار ہیں عباس. حیدر کی طرح دین کے مددگار ہیں عباس. درود بھیجیے محمد والے محمد. سلام کے چند اشعار پیش کروں بی بی سکینہ کی. ایک بار مل کے درود بھیجیے محمد والے محمد. رسیاں کھولے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا. رسیاں کھولے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا. اب تماچے نہ مجھے مارے رخساروں پر. شمر سے بولے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا، رسیاں کھولے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا۔ کون سا درد بچا جو کہ اس نے نہ سہا، سب نے سر پیٹ لیا ماں نے جب اتنا کہا۔ تنہا جائے گی میری بیٹی اس دنیا سے، ساتھ تو ہو لے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا۔ اپنے کرتے کے کفن میں جو لپٹے دیکھا، بولی ماں دفن کرو ہاں مگر اے بیٹا، خاک اور خون کے نشان اس کے رخساروں سے آج تو دھو لے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا۔ کانپتی چھوٹی لحد اشکوں میں بہنے لگی، قید سے جاتے ہوئے کو وہ یوں کہنے لگی، جا کے اب میری جگہ بابا کے سینے پر لمحہ بھر سو لے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا، رسیاں کھولے کوئی دم میرا گھٹنے لگا۔ بر محمد والے محمد صلوات۔
بڑھتی کے نعرے صلوات۔ جو ماریں جلسے دیا پہ کے لیے باواز بلند نعرہ صلوات۔ شمرنے پہلے سکینہ کو دکھایا خنجر، شمرنے پہلے سکینہ کو دکھایا خنجر، شمرنے پہلے سکینہ کو دکھایا خنجر، شمرنے پہلے سکینہ کو دکھایا خنجر بعد میں گردن سرور پہ چلایا خنجر کبھی حیدر نے گلا رکھا کبھی زہرا نے کبھی حیدر نے گلا رکھا کبھی زہرا نے اور کتنے معصوم پہ ظالم نے چلایا خنجر باپ پر وار تو بیٹی پہ تماچے برسے باپ پر وار تو بیٹی پہ تماچے برسے جب بھی قاتل کا سکینہ نے ہٹایا خنجر ایک انگوٹھی کے لیے کاٹ دی انگشت حسین ایک انگوٹھی کے لیے کاٹ دی انگشت حسین لاش پر شہ کی تجھے رحم نہ آیا خنجر قتل زینب کو کیا چھین کے چادر سر سے قتل زینب کو کیا چھین کے چادر سر سے اس طرح شمر نے نیزے کو بنایا خنجر ایک شرابی کو کہا اذیت کا اندازہ ایک شرابی کو کہا اذیت کا اندازہ جس طرح چاہا ستم گر نے چلایا خنجر آئے سجاد جو بازار مدینہ میں کبھی آئے سجاد جو بازار مدینہ میں کبھی بڑھ کے قصاب نے جلدی سے چھپایا خنجر شمر نے پہل سکینہ کو چلا دکھایا خنجر واہ حسین کا ہوا شور تکلم برپا واہ حسین کا ہوا شور تکلم برپا شمر مختار کے جب سامنے لایا خنجر شمر نے پہل سکینہ کو دکھایا خنجر بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات.
The cries of a silent night in memory of Bibi Sakina Salamun alayhi. She was the moon in Hussein's sky. She was the moon in Hussein's sky, with eyes that searched where martyrs lie. A gentle heart, so pure, so small, yet bore the weight of Ashura's fall. Her cradle lost, her thirst unmet, her tiny feet in chains were set. No child should taste a world so grim, yet still she whispered praise to him. She called her Baba through the bars. Her tears would speak to silent stars. Each breath she took a broken sigh, a sob that made the heavens cry. No roses bloomed where she would sleep, just stones and wounds, a silence deep. Yet angels bowed with solemn grace around that prison's sacred space. O lovers of the Prophet's line, let not her memory ever decline, for in her grief a truth remains. We will never let her die in vain. Labbaik ya Hussain, Labbaik ya Hussain, Labbaik ya Hussain. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, before I introduce the Maulana, I would like to make a couple of quick announcements. So August 24th, which will be a Sunday, we would like our community members to save that date because that will be the day of our student orientation, inshallah, for our Sunday school. As you know, we have been running a successful Sunday school at MIC for the past year and a half. And mashallah, we have grown our student base to about 50 students that come on a regular basis. And so with the start of a new semester at the end of August, we will be holding a student orientation, inshallah, on August the 24th, where you'll have a chance to meet our teachers and we'll go over our policies and procedures related to our students. At the same time, we will also be holding a financial presentation about the donations and all the expenses related to MIC. So we also encourage our community members to join us and see how our finances are being managed, because our goal is always to be transparent and for you all to know that the money that you donate to us, it's always used to serve the community and to bring these wonderful programs that you see before you tonight. So save the date, August the 24th, inshallah, will be financial presentation and a student orientation at Marzia Islamic Center. Now, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Maulana Sayyid Muhammad Ali Rizvi. So Maulana Rizvi was born in Austria and has resided in London, England. His professional degree is in biomedical sciences, and his Islamic education was obtained in the Hawzas of Qom and the Hawzas in England. He also practices Islamic medicine, specifically hijama, and he has promised me that he will be doing hijama on me later, so I'll let you know how that goes. Most recently, he has served 4 years as a resident alim in London, and he also speaks 5 languages. Let's all welcome Maulana Rizvi to the member with the loudest of our salawats.
سورہ فاتحہ کی التماس ہے ان مرحومین کے لیے جن کا میں نام لیتا ہوں. آپ سورہ فاتحہ کی تلاوت فرمائیں. سید حسین حیدری، کنیز حسن، آغا اسلم حیدر، سلطان جہان، کنیز عباس، مرزا یاسین علی. سورہ فاتحہ. بسم اللہ. سید حسن عباس جعفری صاحب سخت علیل ہیں. ان کے لیے مومنین سے گزارش ہے کہ ان کی صحت یابی کے لیے دعا کریں. بحق امام سجاد علیہ السلام پروردگار عالم انہیں شفائے عاجلہ و کاملہ عطا فرمائے. جہاں جہاں بھی سخت مومنین مومنات علیل ہیں، مریض ہیں اور اپنی مریضی اور بیماری کے باعث مجلس سے محروم ہیں، پروردگار عالم بحق سید سجاد مریض کربلا کے صدقے میں انہیں جلد از جلد شفا یاب فرمائے تاکہ یہ بھی مجالس میں شرکت کر سکیں اور مولا حسین اور اہل حرم پر کریا کر کے عزاداری کر کر اپنی آخرت کے لیے سامان شفاعت کو آمادہ کر سکیں. درود پڑھیے محمد و آل محمد پر. اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. الحمد للہ رب العالمین بارئ الخلائق اجمعین باعث الانبیاء والمرسلین ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحیۃ والاکرام علی افضل الموجودات العبد المؤید الرسول المسدد المصطفى الامجد والمحمود الاحمد سیدنا ونبینا وحبیب قلوبنا وشفیع ذنوبنا صاحب الوقار والسکینہ المدفون بأرض المدینہ ابی القاسم محمد. وآلہ الطیبین الطاہرین المعصومین المظلومین واللعنۃ الدائمۃ علی اعدائہم اجمعین من الاولین والآخرین آمین یا رب العالمین. اما بعد فقد قال ابو عبد اللہ الحسین بن علی علیہ الصلاۃ والسلام اما بعد فانی لا اعلم اصحابا خیرہ ولا اوفى من اصحابی. صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلی محمد. Ali Muhammad. As the hadith that I've chosen is best befitting the topic of tonight's lecture, the companions of Sayyidul Shuhada, Ashabul Hussain. You see, the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam are so important that when you give your salams and your salutations to Aba Abdullah, you include his companions. Assalamu ala al-Hussain, wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain, wa ala awlad al-Hussain, wa ala ashab al-Hussain. And had you not included the companions in the ziyarah of Sayyidul Shuhada, there is no doubt that Hussain would have been upset with us. Imam Hussain alayhi salam very much loved his companions, dearly loved his companions. And hence this famous hadith, this famous narration from the Imam himself, Wallahi inni la a'lam washaban khayra wa la awfa min ashabi. In other words, I Hussain ibn Ali do not know of any companions better or more loyal than my companions on the day of Ashura. Subhanallah. You might say, Amirul Mu'mineen had companions. Imamul Hasan had companions. Rasulullah had companions. Yet there were munafiqeen amongst the Sahaba of Rasulullah. There were Khawarij amongst the Sahaba of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yes, and you saw them come out. Munafiqeen were amongst the Sahaba of Rasulullah 100%. Hence the Quran has Suratul Munafiqun. Otherwise, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala waste his... God does not waste his time. Neither does he waste your time. If he has released a surah in the Holy Quran, a chapter is revealed in this book, it indicates that there were hypocrites. And then the same chapter says they were inside Medina. So they were munafiqeen. Confirmed. Number two, Amirul Mu'mineen's companions had Khawarij. Confirmed. Because in Siffin, when the Quran was raised by Amr ibn al-As Mal'un, he raised the Quran as a deception. And they said this Quran was huge. It came from the Damascus, from the Masjid al-Umawi, which you call Darbar of Yazid, the grand mosque of the Umayyads. It came from there. It was written on huge skin or leather, whatever they used. And many men raised this Quran up. Huge piece of work. And they all raised it up against the army of Imam Amirul Mu'mineen, indicating what? Indicating that we are the upholders of Quran. We are the people of Quran. Ali, you are fighting the Quran. And so the Khawarij said, they're right. Oh, Ali, we won't fight anymore. They took their swords and they put them back in their sheaths, in their covers. Amirul Mu'mineen says what? Do not be deceived. Do not be fooled. In other words, you Kharijis, you are fools. If this is the Quran, Ana Quranun Natiq. I am the Quran. I am the walking, talking, speaking Quran. It's just a piece of paper. I'll tell you when we fight and we don't. I'll tell you when is the time for jihad and when is the time for peace treaty, sulh. But the Khawarij left Imam Amirul Mu'mineen anyway, and later, and they went crazy. And they went so crazy that they fought him in Nahrawan. And that's what the hadith says, the Khawarij left Islam. The Khariji leaves Islam at the speed the arrow leaves the bow. Now this is hadith. Then comes the time of Imam Hasan al-Mujtaba, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. There are spies within the companions of Imam al-Hasan. You remember Muawiyah said, I need to know the location of Hassan. Where is Hassan? And he had released spies in the public. Anyone who finds him must eliminate him. And it was because of the spies that existed within the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam that one of them takes a dagger and he stabs Imam Hussain in the leg. As a result of which he is injured for days. But subhanallah, the night of Ashur, the companions of Imam Hussain. This is a different world. This is a different dunya. The Ashura itself is a dunya. Imam Hussain salamullahi alayhi gathers his companions on that fateful night, and what does he say? You're free. Go. It's night. Escape. They want me. And once they have me, they won't come for you. They will not trouble you. You take your families and you go. And to save them, because maybe somebody felt embarrassed to leave. To save them the embarrassment, you know what he says? He says, take my children with you. So that nobody feels that, if I leave, what would I say to Imam Hussain? Imam Hussain said, no, take my children. Take my kids with you. He says to everybody. Then he says to his brothers, his family members, go. Hussain will stay alone. But subhanallah, the statements of the companions have been recorded in the books for the generations to read until the end of time. Amongst the Banu Hashim, the first one to stand is Abul Fadl al-Abbas salamullahi alayhi. He says, oh my master, I was raised for this day. I was born for this day. No chance. This is not happening. There is no way Abbas will leave his master Hussain. And then one by one, Banu Hashim. But I want to fast forward to the companions, because the topic is the companions. The army of Imam Hussain, mainly his companions. Because the majority of the army, the small army, was his companions. You have amongst the first one, amongst the Sahaba, many companions said what they had to say. But amongst the first ones to speak was Muslim ibn Awsaja. Muslim was not only a Sahabi of Imam al-Hussain, Muslim ibn Awsaja was a Sahabi Rasulullah. He was a companion of the Holy Prophet. He had met the Holy Prophet. He had sat with the Holy Prophet. He had prayed with the Holy Prophet. And hence he was one of the elders of the Ashabul Hussain. He had fought in other wars and battles. He says, Ya Ibn Rasulillah, you ask us to leave, but I renew my allegiance and I tell you that I will fight them with my spear. And if my spear breaks, then I'll fight them with my sword. As long as I hold the sword. And once the sword drops, then I'll fight them with sticks and stones. Until I am killed in your way, Ya Aba Abdullah. And then Zuhair ibn al-Qayn, this Zuhair speaks up, one of the companions of Imam al-Hussain. He says, if they kill us and they burn us to ashes, and then they throw the ashes into the air, and if they repeat that 1,000 times, Ma taraktuka ya Hussain, will never leave you, O Hussain. It's easier for me, Zuhair says, it's easier for me that I'm killed, burned to ashes, scattered into the air. That for me 1,000 times repeated over and over again is easier than to walk away tonight, in the night of Ashura. Just imagine the level of Iman. Marhum Al-Allama Sayyidul Ulama Allama Sayyid Ali Naqi Naqan rahimahullah, he puts it beautifully. He says, on the night of Ashur, Imam Hussain gave them back their lives. This is your life, take it. Imam Hussain returns back to them what is the most dear thing for any human being. Everybody wants to live. Who wants to die? Everybody wants to live. Everybody wants to live as long as possible. Imam Hussain returns them their lives. Go and live. But they take their lives and they throw it back at Hussain. We don't want our lives. We want you, O Hussain. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. The most dear thing, Imam Hussain says, no, I don't want it. They said, we don't want it. It's like that one thing that everybody wants, which is to live life. The day, life itself, if life could, life would tell you how arrogant life is, because everybody wants to live. Life is something everybody wants. In fact, there are people who will say, we don't want money. There are people who will say this. A lot of people want money in life, but there are some people you'll meet and say, no, we don't want money, we're content, we're happy. What's money gonna? Money can't buy you happiness. But everybody say we wants to live. Everybody wants to live. We want life. And so the arrogance of life was broken Shab-e Ashur. Look at how the companions of Imam Hussain trample upon life. We don't want it. You take it. Imam Hussain says, I don't want your lives. You take it. He said, we don't want it, Maulana. You take it. And life was probably thinking, what's happening? Nobody wants me. This is the Iman of Ashabul Hussain. Allahu Akbar. Be it Muslim ibn Awsaja, be it Habib ibn Madahir. Look at Muslim. That Muslim, when he falls, when Muslim ibn Awsaja, when he fell from the horse, Imam Hussain alayhi salam came to him and he had some life. And Habib was with Imam al-Hussain. Muslim and Habib and Muslim were friends. They were amongst the seniors of the army of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And usually a dying person makes a will, a wasiyah. Habib looks at his friend Muslim, he's covered in his blood, and he knows he's going to die. He says to him, oh my dear friend, my good friend Muslim, if I had any plans of living, I would have asked you to make wasiyah. But you're going ahead and I'm coming right behind you. So I will not ask you to make wasiyat. But you know what Muslim says? He says, it is true, but you still live for some moments. And I still have a wasiyah to make. He says, what is your wasiyah? My wasiyah is Hussain ibn Ali. As long as you live, even if it's temporarily, even if it's a few moments, hours, you stand between them and Hussain like a wall. That as long as you live, nobody comes close to Aba Abdullah al-Hussain. Iman, this is Iman. Look at the demographics of Karbala. When you look at the Shuhada, ulama have discussed different things. How many of the Shuhada were companions? How many of them were Ahlul Bayt from Banu Hashim? They say amongst them 18 were the Hashimites, Hashimiyin, Sadat. 18 were Banu Hashim. The rest were companions. And where were the majority of the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam from? If you look at the list of the companions of Imam Hussain, the vast majority of them were from Kufa. The ones that say the Kufas, there was Kufa is Shia and the Shias betrayed Imam Hussain. If the Shias betrayed Imam Hussain, then where were the people of Medina? What were they doing? If the Shias killed Imam Hussain, then why did the Sunnis not save him? Yeah? It's time you ask the questions. For how long will you answer questions? It's time you take pride and start asking the questions. For how long will you become defensive? It's time you become offensive in your questions. What's wrong with it? For generations we have had to answer questions. Now is the time to ask the questions. Where were you? Medina was filled with Sahaba. Where were they? What were they doing? You know where they were? I'll tell you where they were. This is from Imam As-Sajjad, Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam. ما بمكة والمدينة 20 رجلا يحبنا أهل البيت. In all of Mecca and Medina, there were not 20 people that really loved us Al Muhammad. In all of Mecca and Medina, Imam Sajjad says you would not find 20 who truly loved us Ahlul Bayt. And that's why nobody came to help him. I mean, they saw him leave. Many came to stop him, but they wouldn't join him. And it was the companions and Ahlul Bayt that sacrificed their lives. From the ulama say, Sayyid Muhsin al-Amin from Lebanon, rahimahullah, marhum, he says 10 sons of Ali ibn Abi Talib were killed in Karbala. 4 sons of Imam Hassan were killed in Karbala. 3 sons of Imam Hussain were killed in Karbala. 9 sons of Aqil ibn Abi Talib were killed in Karbala. 9 sons of Aqil and 8 grandchildren of Aqil. 4 sons of Muslim ibn Aqil. 2 were killed in Kufa and 2 were killed on the day of Ashura with Imam al-Hussain. In other words, Muslim ibn Aqil and Aqil, this complete family was destroyed in the love of Imam al-Hussain. His whole family tree, Aqil's whole family tree was wiped out. Ala tariq al-Hussain, the love of Hussain. You know, sometimes families are wiped out. You know, nowadays especially, you look at the news, one bomb drops, family is gone. Happens, yeah, it's happening, yes? One bomb, family gone. Aqil's whole family was sacrificed for Karbala. But there's a difference. When a bomb drops, everybody dies instantly. Yet what happened to Aqil and Awlad Aqil was far more difficult and much more harder. One by one, slow, painful. Well, you could have an explosion and everybody gone. But one by one, first son, second son, third son, fourth son, fifth son. This is much more painful, much more harder, much more slower. And this sacrifice is much more greater than any other family being wiped out anywhere. And this speaks merits for Aqil and his family. And sometimes we don't talk about Aqil enough. Somebody asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, do you love Aqil? He says, why would I not? He says, why? 2 reasons. 1, Aqil himself is such a great personality that I love him. 2, he is the son of my uncle Abu Talib. Why would I not? This is Aqil. And so these companions were the hope of Abu Abdullah. On the night of Ashur, one of the Maqatil says that Sayyida Zainab came to Imam al-Hussain. And Bibi Zainab says, oh brother Hussain, have you tested your companions? Tomorrow is the day of Ashura. Will they stay? One of the companion overhears this. He goes back, he gathers the companions. And they all come and line up outside the Mukhayyam, the Khaymah of Sayyida Zainab. Imam Hussain says, what's happened? And they say, it's as if Sayyida Zainab wants to test us. And maybe she doesn't think that we will stay here. We want to show our loyalty to our Lady Zainab, the daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib. What do? They take their swords out the covers and they snap and break the covers. And they say, Ya Sayyidati wa Maulati. Oh, our Queen Zainab. We have broken the covers. And what does that mean? If a person takes the sword out and breaks the cover, it means he will die fighting. The sword is not going back in because there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere for that sword to go now. So Sayyida Zainab salamullahi alayha, when she sees the companions like this, she has a sort of peace in the heart that my brother will have companions tomorrow when this tragedy begins. Amongst these companions is an important personality that is perhaps not spoken about enough, or sometimes not at all, but somebody who deserves much attention. A Sahabi of Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the day of Ashura by the name of Abdullah ibn Umair al-Kalbi. This Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umair al-Kalbi was from outside of Kufa. He lived in a house outside of Kufa, was a well, and he lived by the well with his wife. The wife's name was Wahab. They say, the ulama write, كان بطلا شجاعا شريفا. He was brave, courageous, and noble. Sharif. One day, as he comes out of his house, he sees troops, soldiers, knives and spears and swords. He says, what's happening? They say to him, this is the army of Ibn Ziyad who have been sent from Kufa to go and fight in Karbala. Who are they going to fight? Hussain ibn Fatima. Hussain, the son of Fatima. The grandson of Rasulullah. They say, yes, these are all, you see these? They all would come by the well, they would stop there, and then before they would move on, they would camp there. You would see there are camps here. What's going on? I've never seen camps in my area before. He said, these people are being sent to fight the grandson of Rasulullah. Do you know what he says? He has a famous tradition. His line, his sentence is in the books. He says, I always had a desire to fight the polytheists with Rasulullah, the mushrikeen. And I couldn't. But Allah has honored me with another chance to go and fight those who fight Hussain ibn Fatima. And this, fighting them, is like fighting the mushrikeen. He comes home, he tells his wife, I'm leaving. You see, sometimes it doesn't matter where you are. There were people in Medina who watched Imam Hussain leave and nobody came with him. And there was somebody here in Kufa. There is no mention of him meeting Imam Hussain or being with Imam Hussain before Ashura. There's no mention in the books. If you pick up the books, the Maqatil, the books of history, the Tarikh, there is no mention of him with Imam Hussain anywhere else except the day of Ashura. You could have somebody who's with Imam Hussain in Medina all his life, but doesn't join him, like Abdullah ibn Umar. He stopped Imam Hussain, why do you go? Don't go. But he didn't join him. Yet this Abdullah ibn Umair al-Kalbi, who's not been with Imam Hussain before, he ends up in Karbala with Sayyid al-Shuhada. He comes home, he tells his wife, I have to leave. But she was a mu'minah. She was a lover of Imam Hussain. She says, you're not going alone, I'm coming with you. And that's why some of the wives, they came with their husbands to join Imam Hussain alayhi salam on the day of Ashura. She comes, she's a mu'minah, her heart is full of iman and wilayah of Ahlul Bayt. The wilayat of Ahlul Bayt did not let her sit at home. despite being a woman. And jihad is not for a woman anyway. Qital is not for the woman. Fast forward the day of Ashura, the tragedy begins. And as you know, the companions went first. Among the early shuhada are the likes of Hur and Muslim ibn Awsaja. Some say the first shaheed is Muslim ibn Awsaja. Some say the first shaheed is Hur ibn Riyahi. Okay, there's an ikhtilaf here. Anyway, they are the first of the shuhada. Amongst the first face-to-face combats. When fighters from the other side would come and challenge, Abdullah ibn Umair comes out with his sword and he fights. He fights, killing many of the enemies of Allah, killing many of the soldiers of Banu Umayyah. And it comes to a point where he has a sword, and from his sword there is blood dripping, which is the blood of the enemy. But his other hand, his fingers are cut. So from this hand, his own blood is dripping. You can imagine, on this hand, he has the blood of the enemy. On this hand, because his fingers are cut, his own blood is dripping. And they say to him, "Oh Abdullah, what will you do now?" And as was customary amongst the Arabs, they would recite a poet on the spot, fil badi. And so he recites what is known as a rajaz, in which he says, to summarize, that I'll fight you with my sword, I'll fight you with my spear. And like I promised, and then he turns back towards the mukhayyam where his wife is inside the khayma, Wahab, and he says, "Oh Wahab, like I promised you, I will fight until I defend the progeny of Rasulullah." When she hears her name, she comes running out of the khayma. And she says, "Fidaka ummi wa abi." Ya Abdullah. She comes out and she says, "May my mother and father be sacrificed for you. Fight them and defend Al Muhammad. Defend Imam Hussain." Abdullah ibn Umair, when he sees his wife is coming out, he forgets about. He says, "No, go back." He tries his hard. She says, "No, I will fight with you until I am killed in the fighting, until I am killed as well, fi sabilillah." He tries his best. He says, "No, you go back inside." Imam Hussain hears this. Now he comes out. And he comes out to them and he says, "May Allah bless you both and give you jaza khair in dunya and akhirah. But O Wahab, qital, this is not for the women. Go back to the tent, go back to Sayyidah Zainab." Now she was full of Iman. When she saw her husband bleeding, she wanted to defend him and fight alongside him. But the command and the hukm of the Imam was above that. The ita'at of the holy Imam. The Imam Hussain, the Imam comes out and says, "Go back." She goes back instantly. Even though her husband tried very hard to get her to go back inside. Now Wahab, Abdullah ibn Umair al-Kalbi, Wahab is back. He goes back. This is the time now he will not return. Now imagine as a wife when she's sitting inside, now she has no idea what's happening outside. That weight becomes unbearable. There's already a weight as there is on the heart, seeing your husband in that situation. But then on top of that, now not knowing if he's okay or not. There comes a point where she cannot take it anymore and she comes running out to see one last time her husband. What does she see? She sees Abdullah is on the floor, covered in his blood. And he's no more. She comes out on the maqtal. She comes onto his body and she sits there. And she cries. And she congratulates him. She says, "Congratulations to you. that you have been blessed with Jannah. You have been blessed with the Jannah of Rasulullah. You know, at a time like this, when she was, a sight like this, when you see a lady is crying over the dead body of her husband, it softens the hearts, it brings tears to the eyes, but this is not the case for Banu Umayyah. Shimr sends out his servant by the name of Rustam, and he says, go and finish her. He comes out with an iron bar. He comes from behind and he strikes her on the head from behind, and she died. This is one of the lady shuhada, shahida, on the day of Ashura. So amongst the companions of Imam Hussain were men, but also this lady who was a shahida on the day of Ashura. You know why? Iman. If Iman is there, it doesn't matter if somebody is a man or a woman. As long as Iman is there, the hubb of Ahlul Bayt, the wilaya of Ahlul Bayt, the love of Sayyidul Shuhada, it does not let one sit at home. That's why you come here. Because of the love of Hussain brings you to the Majalis of Hussain. The love of Hussain doesn't let you sit at home. You say, no, it's still the days of mourning, it's still safar. We are now going towards Arba'een. We're now going towards the martyrdom of Sayyida Sakina Salamullahi alayha. These are not days where the love of Imam Hussain lets you sit at home. The mourning continues. I'll give you last example of a companion and then I end with Masa'ib. When Imam al-Hussain was leaving Medina, amongst those that were with him in his caravan, there was a servant by the name of John. You heard the name John amongst the Shuhada, Ashab al-Hussain? You know who this John was? This John was the ghulam of Abu Zar. Ghulam Abu Zar. And after Abu Dhar, when Abu Dhar was, as you know, Abu Dhar was exiled. He was kicked out of Medina by the third caliph. As a result of which Abu Dhar died in the desert all alone. He was there with his daughter and this John. The third caliph has always been an enemy of Ahlul Bayt and those who loved Ahlul Bayt and their followers. Of course, he was an Umawi. Banu Umayyah all hated Ahlul Bayt. Banu Umayyah hated Banu Hashim. And the third caliph was no different. After the dying of Abu Dhar, John would spend his time with Amirul Mu'mineen. After Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he would spend his time with Imam al-Hasan. After Imam al-Hasan, he would spend his time with Imam Hussain and Imam al-Sajjad. He left Medina when Imam Hussain alayhi salam left Medina 28th of Rajab al-Murajab. And he was with Imam Hussain from Medina to Makkah and towards Kufa, and then eventually ended up in Karbala, and he was there every day with the Holy Imam. Some of the people came later. As you know, Hur came much later. But John was there from the beginning. He was a Shia of Al-Muhammad, a staunch supporter and lover of Al-Muhammad. His Iman was different. It was not from the Arabs. It was Ajnabi. It was a Khariji, yani he was foreigner in that sense. Khariji in that sense, he was a foreigner. He was not from Medina. And Imam Hussain came to him. He said, look, you've served us enough. You're not from Medina. I want you to go. I have freed you. The loyalty that you have towards us, the bay'ah, the allegiance that you have towards us, you're free. You know what he says? He looks at the Holy Imam and look at the level of his Iman, despite being a servant. He says, Ya ibn Rasulillah, Is it because I'm not one of you? Is it because I'm not from Bani Hashim? Is it because I'm not from Medina? Yeah? Is it because of that? The Imam says no. And he says, by God, I will not go until my blood is spilled in the same place your blood is spilled. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. I will not go until each and every drop of my blood is spilled for your sake, Ya Aba Abdullah. And when he dies, Imam Hussain alayhi salam does something strange. He comes to his injured body where he lay, and he makes a dua. He says, Allahumma bayyad wajha wa tayyab riha. Oh Allah, enlighten and illuminate his face with your nur and give him heavenly fragrance. And the dua of Imam Hussain was accepted straight away. They say from the shuhada, out of the shuhada, the shaheed who had a heavenly fragrance was this shaheed John. It shows you that the shuhada of Karbala were rewarded in dunya first and then in akhirah. Hussain alayhi salam made a dua. And then what does he do? Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he puts his face on his face. Khaddahu ala khaddeh. His cheek, he places and he cries on him. And there's only one other shaheed that Imam Hussain did this to. This Ghulam Abu Zar, and that Jawan Hashimi Ali Akbar. Allahu Akbar. It shows you how much Hussain loved his companions, his Sahaba. Now you understand what he says? Inni la alamu ashaban khayra wala awfa min ashabi. Hussain does not know of any companions, any Sahaba better and more loyal than his. Now you know what he means. Aba Abdullah al-Hussain. Yet one by one we see the companions go. Subh Ashur, जब दुश्मनों की जानिब से हमले का आगाज हुआ, एक एक करके मेरे मौला हुसैन के असहाब अपने मौला से इज़्न तलब करने मौला की खिदमत में आते रहे, और मेरा मौला अपने असहाब को देखता है, परेशान होता है और फिर इज़्न जिहाद देता है, क्योंकि बहरहाल जिहाद वाजिब है। लेकिन अज़ीज़ान मोहतरम, अज़ादारान इमाम मज़लूम, अगर आपने गौर किया हो तो तारीख़ इस्लाम की तमाम जंगों में रविश ये रही है कि पहले अहले बैत जंग को गए हैं, बाद में सहाबा। तारीख़ इस्लाम। लेकिन करबला में यह रविश बिल्कुल इसके बरअक्स है। जंग जमल में मौला अली के बेटे आगे आगे हैं, जंग खैबर में हुजूर ने अपने भाई को भेजा है, जंग ओहद में अली आगे आगे हैं, बदर में अली आगे आगे हैं, यानी तमाम जंगों में अहले बैत आगे हैं, सहाबा पीछे हैं। लेकिन ये वो वाहिद मारका है, मारका करबला, कि जहां असहाब आगे हैं और अहले बैत पीछे हैं। वजह, अज़ादारों, दीगर अहज़ाब और दीगर जंगों में ये इम्कान बाकी था कि अभी कोई ना कोई जिंदा रहेगा, तो पैगंबर इस्लाम ने और मौला कायनात ने हमेशा ये चाहा कि हमारे अहले बैत कुर्बान हो जाएं और मुसलमान बच जाएं। लेकिन करबला में ये इम्कान ही ना था। करबला में किसी के जिंदा रहने का भी इम्कान ना था, और मेरे मौला को अपने असहाब पे तरस आता था कि ये मेरे असहाब हैं, ये प्यासे हैं, अगर मैं इन्हें पानी नहीं दे सकता تو میں نے اور زحمت بھی نہ دوں گا. یہ جتنے جلدی شہید ہوں گے میرے جد رسول خدا اپنے ہاتھوں سے سیراب کریں گے. ہاں زادارو، میرے مولا کو یہ ترس آتا تھا، میرے مولا کو ان کے چہرے دیکھ دیکھ کے ان پر رحم آتا تھا کہ میرے پاس پانی بھی نہیں کہ میں اپنے اصحاب کو پانی پلاؤں. یہ میری خاطر یہاں بیٹھے ہیں، یہ میری خاطر یہاں موجود ہیں، یہ میری خاطر اپنا گھر بار ہر چیز چھوڑ کے میرے ساتھ بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں. لیکن میرے مولا کو ترس یہ تھا، اس لیے میرے مولا نے کہا جاؤ جاؤ، میرے نانا رسول خدا تمہیں سیراب کریں گے، میرے نانا رسول خدا تمہیں حوض کوثر کا پانی پلائیں گے. بھئی اس لیے تو جب جناب علی اکبر گھوڑے سے گرے ہیں نا اور میرا مولا دوڑتا ہوا اپنے بیٹے کے لاشے پہ آیا ہے، تو جب باپ کو اس حالت میں علی اکبر نے دیکھا تو مقتل میں ایک جملہ ملتا ہے. جناب علی اکبر نے اپنے بابا کو اس حالت میں دیکھ کے کہا بابا جان گھبرائیے مت، ھذا جدی رسول اللہ، آپ کے نانا رسول خدا، ہمارے جد رسول خدا موجود ہیں. علی مرتضیٰ، دادا علی مرتضیٰ موجود ہیں، دادی فاطمہ آئی ہیں، وہ مجھے اپنے ہاتھوں سے پانی پلا رہے ہیں. ہاں زادارو، معلوم یہ ہوا کہ ہر شہید کی پیاس کی ایک حد ہے، جو جب شہید ہوا سیراب ہو گیا. جیسے ہی مسلم ابن اوسجہ شہید ہوئے سیراب ہو گئے، حبیب ابن مظاہر گھوڑے سے گرے سیراب ہو گئے، عبداللہ ابن عمیر کی شہادت واقع ہوئی سیراب ہو گئے، ہلال ابن نافع شہید ہوئے سیراب ہو گئے. بھئی جو جب جتنی جلدی شہید ہوا اتنی جلدی اس نے پانی پیا، اس کی پیاس بجھ گئی. ہاں زادارو، پھر علی اکبر کی باری آئی ہے، پھر قاسم کی باری آتی ہے، پھر اونو محمد کی باری آتی ہے. ہاں پھر ایک وقت ایسا بھی ہے کہ عباس علمدار بھی شہید ہو گئے، سیراب ہو گئے. لیکن ہائے فاطمہ کا لال تنے تنہا، جو سب سے پیاسا تھا وہ میرا مولا حسین. لیکن روک کے ایک جملہ کہوں، بھئی سب کو روکنا میری سمجھ میں آتا ہے، عباس کو آخر تک روکے رکھا. عباس بہادر تھے، عباس مضبوط تھے، عباس شجاع تھے. لیکن ہائے وہ 6 مہینے کی جان، وہ شیر خار بچہ، اسے کیوں روکے رکھا وہ میری سمجھ میں نہیں آتا. ہاں زادارو، اور بھی بچے پیاسے تھے، ایک ننھی سکینہ بھی پیاسی تھی. ہاں اتنی پیاسی تھی، کبھی چچا سے کہتی ہے چچا عباس میں پیاس سے مر جاؤں گی، کبھی اپنے بابا سے کہتی ہے بابا جان اگر پانی کے 2 گھونٹ 2 قطرے مل جائیں. لیکن یہ 6 ماہا، یہ شیر خار بچہ، یہ رباب کا چھوٹا سا بچہ اتنا پیاسا ہے، لیکن ہاں اتنا چھوٹا ہے یہ بتا بھی نہیں سکتا. خاموشی سے کبھی ماں کا چہرہ دیکھتا ہے، کبھی اپنی پھوپھی کو دیکھتا ہے، کبھی اپنے بابا کا چہرہ دیکھتا ہے اور بس خاموش رہتا ہے، کچھ نہیں کہتا. ہاں لیکن جب عصر عاشور میرے مولا نے حل من ناصرن کی صدا بلند کی، بچے نے اپنے آپ کو گہوارے سے گرا دیا کہ گویا لبیک کہہ کے اب میں بھی جہاد کے لیے تیار ہو گیا ہوں. ہاں زادارو، ہر کسی کی عصر عاشور تک سب کی پیاس بجھ گئی تھی. لیکن ہاں ابھی سکینہ پیاسی ہے، ابھی زینب پیاسی ہے، میرا مولا سجاد پیاسا ہے. سنیں گے جملے. بھئی شام، کیونکہ یہ سفر کا مہینہ ہے نا، اور یہ وہ مہینہ ہے کہ جس میں شام کے مصائب بیان کیے جاتے ہیں. بھئی شام کے راستے میں حمص کے مقام پر جب اہل حرم کا قافلہ روکا گیا، ظالموں نے وہاں پر پڑاؤ ڈالا. بس آخری جملہ، زحمت تمام ہو گئی. ظالموں نے وہاں پڑاؤ ڈالا. زینب کی آغوش میں حسین کی امانت ہے. کیا دیکھ رہی ہے؟ بیٹھی یہ سہمی ہوئی خاموش بچی اپنی پھوپھی کی گود میں ایک منظر دیکھ رہی ہے. کیا دیکھ رہی؟ تھکی ہے، پیاسی ہے. ہاں زادارو کیا دیکھتی ہے؟ شمر نہر کے قریب جا رہا ہے، پانی کا مشکیزہ بھر کے لا رہا ہے، اپنے سپاہیوں کو پانی دے رہا ہے. سپاہیوں کے لیے شامیانہ نصب ہے، اہل حرم کو دھوپ میں رکھا گیا ہے. اہل حرم کو تپتی دھوپ کے نیچے رکھا گیا، پیاس کی شدت۔ ایک مرتبہ سکینہ کہتی ہے پھوپھی اماں پیاس برداشت نہیں ہوتی، اگر اجازت دیں تو شمر سے کچھ پانی مانگ لوں۔ بی بی نے کہا ہے سکینہ یہ بہت ظالم ہے، یہ بہت ظالم ہے، یہ تیرے بابا کا قاتل ہے، لیکن میں تجھے روکوں گی نہیں کیونکہ تیرے بابا نے بھی پانی مانگا تھا، پانی مانگنا حسین کی سنت ہے، جا تو پانی مانگ لے، لیکن مجھے امید نہیں ہے۔ ہاں آخر حسین کی بیٹی ہے، آل محمد کے گھرانے میں پلی ہے، آئی شمر کے قریب خاموشی سے کھڑی ہو گئی اور کہتی ہے شمر میں تجھ سے پانی تو نہیں مانگوں گی، لیکن ہاں جب تو سب کو پانی دے دے، اگر کچھ پانی بچ جائے تو کچھ پانی ہمیں بھی دے دے، مجھ سے پیاس برداشت نہیں ہوتی۔ بھئی ظالم خاموش رہا۔ مقتل کی یہ روایت ہے کہ ظالم نے سکینہ کو دیکھا، اب مجھے نہیں معلوم ظالم کو کیا یاد آیا ہوگا، شاید سکینہ کا بابا یاد آیا ہو، شاید وہ کٹتی گردن یاد آئی ہو۔ آزادارو سب کو پانی پلا دیا، ظالم نے سکینہ کو دیکھا، سکینہ یہ سمجھی کہ میرے جانب بڑھے گا، لیکن یہ ظالم وہی پانی لے کے گھوڑوں کی طرف گیا۔ اب گھوڑوں کو پانی پلا لیا، سکینہ نے دیکھا کہ کچھ پانی باقی ہے، اب سکینہ کے دل میں کچھ امید تھی کہ یہ ظالم مجھے پانی دے گا، لیکن ہاں آزادارو یہ مشکل جملہ میں کیسے ادا کروں، سادات مجھے معاف کریں گے۔ ظالم نے سکینہ کی جانب رخ کیا، سکینہ کی آنکھوں میں آنکھ ڈال کے کیا کیا ظالم نے، سارا پانی زمین پر گرا دیا۔ سکینہ روتی رہ گئی، ہاں پھوپھی اماں پر پیاس سے میں مر جاؤں گی۔ الا لعنت اللہ علی القوم الظالمین وسيعلم الذین ظلموا ای منقلب ینقلبون والعاقبۃ للمتقین انا للہ وانا الیہ راجعون۔ یا حسین
کی رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا، کے 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 رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا۔ میں ہوں مشکل میں مجھے پاس بلا لو بابا، کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا، کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا۔ بھاگتے اونٹ سے بابا میں کئی بار گری، دل بچھینے میرے دیکھو میری پوشاک جلی، مجھ کو زندہ کے اندھیروں سے نکالو بابا، کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا، کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا، کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا۔ نیند آتی نہیں، سونے سے بھی ڈر لگتا ہے، لوں جو کروٹ تو میرے کانوں سے خون رستا ہے، اپنے سینے پہ گھڑی پل کو سلا لو بابا، کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چھڑا لو بابا، رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا. بھاگتے اونٹ سے بابا میں کئی بار گری گر بچھی ہے میرے دیکھو میری پوشاک جلی. مجھ کو زندہ کے اندھیروں سے نکالو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا. سمر سے مانگو جو پانی تو جھڑک دیتا ہے پھر میرے سامنے مٹی پہ گرا دیتا ہے. بھیج کے غازی کو دو گھونٹ منگا لو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا. سمر سے مانگو جو پانی تو جھڑک دیتا ہے پھر میرے سامنے مٹی پہ گرا دیتا ہے. بھیج کے غازی کو دو گھونٹ منگا لو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا. تیرے قاتل مجھے رونے سے منع کرتے ہیں کبھی روتی ہوں تو عابد پہ ستم کرتے ہیں. کھل کے رو لوں مجھے نیزے پہ اٹھا لو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا کے رسیوں سے سکینہ کو چرا لو بابا.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہ
صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حبيب الله يا خاتم الأنبياء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا علي أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا بقية الله يا حجة الله الكبرى يا قائم آل محمد. الأمان سيدي من فتنة الزمان وشر الشيطان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه ورحمة الله وبركاته.